Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave my home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me Sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the islands and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me Sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna.
Now, I want to touch something this morning that is very delicate for some people. But one thing I have learned to respect what the scripture says. You know, that's what it is. And sometimes we go on a limb, go out on a limb, and we present things that we feel. And we're warned in the Bible, sometimes they say, follow the heart. No, 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 no. The Bible says that the heart is wicked, you know, wildest imagination. And I've seen where these beliefs have developed into denomination and cults, where people don't want to leave from where they are because what they have heard is exactly what they want to hear. And so they want to stay there because it seems as though it is right, what has been said to them. And this is a very, very serious challenge. So it says the Bible treats the teaching of the gospel. So all of that comes from a proper teaching of the gospel for it to be done the way God wants. Or where improper teaching is done, where we allow some crazy stuff to permeate the body of Christ, and then people start to take them as doctrine. It says the Bible treats the teaching of the gospel not as a casual gift, but as a serious responsibility. Letting untrained or unvetted individuals lead carries specific risks. And I want people to hear that clearly this morning. In James 3:1, it says, not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly. And I want you to allow that to permeate your mind. That those of us who teach the word of God will be judged more strictly. We cannot assume things. We better get it right. You better get it right and don't be laying claim that it's coming from here or there. You, whatever comes out of your mouth to other people, it may very well be to their destruction, and it may very be what they want to hear because they have itchy ears. You're telling them what they want to hear, and by that they grab it and they go with it. Nobody can then. The hardest thing to do is to undo wrong teaching that has been accepted as true. Very difficult because some people don't even want to allow others to say things to them. I've seen people who have high qualification, who should be willing to listen and hear, unwilling to budge from where they are for wrong things. Imagine that nowhere in the Bible you can hear praying to Mary is a criteria, but there are people who pray to Mary and you can't tell them don't do that. They're not going to stop. They're going to get angry with you. They're going to call you out for calling them out. Those are very serious things that if we read the scriptures closely, quickly we're going to step away from those wrong teachings. And people don't like when we do these things, but more and more as people grasp these things and hold them dearly, they're going to be a problem. There's a danger in distortion when you distort the scriptures. It says in 2 Peter 3:16, it says, he speaks about these things in all his letters. There are some things in them that are hard to understand. It's talking about Paul. Paul. Peter is saying that Paul writes some things that are hard to understand. And this is coming from the Apostle Peter. So how could someone just go and grab that? He didn't say, I will lead on the Holy Spirit to tell me. He's saying that these things are hard to understand, right? There are some things in them that are hard to understand, which ignorant and unstable people distort as they do the other scriptures to their own destruction. Do not distort scriptures. And then there's pride. Somebody comes in new and you give that person something to do and person becomes prideful, and you have to wait. The Bible warns us. It says in 1 Timothy 3, this which comes from the pastoral book, this is what God gives to the church on how to conduct its business. 1 and 2 Timothy and Titus. It says, he must not be a recent convert, or he may become conceited and fall under the same judgment as the devil. Warning. Put somebody who is new to do things that they're not supposed to do, that's a problem. That's not coming from me, it's coming from the scriptures. 1 Timothy 3:6. It becomes the blind leading the blind, which is mentioned in Matthew 15:14. Leave them. They are blind guides. If the blind leads the blind, both will fall into a pit. You can't be blind and be leading people. You cannot know and want to tell. That's a problem. That's a problem. It has to come from somebody. If you look around, you will see even in the secular world, doctors spend many years studying. Engineers spend many years studying. Lawyers spend many years studying. People who are proficient in their craft must spend time studying. If it was just to allow people to be led by the Spirit, then why did Jesus take time out to teach the apostles, the disciples? As a matter of fact, when I talk about discipleship, it's the guiding of the people that you are responsible for, to disciple them, to let them know, because that's that part of this, the mind that the Spirit helps to control, that will allow you to come to truths that you know. That's what is important. There's a biblical standard to prevent these dangers. The New Testament provides a vetting list for those who handle the word. 1 Timothy 3:2-3 talks about a proven life. So know the overseer is to be above reproach, faithful to his wife, temperate, self-control, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not given to drunkenness, not violent, but gentle, not quarrelsome, not a lover of money. It goes further and talks about doctrinal mastery. In Titus 1:9, he must hold firmly to the trustworthy message as it has been taught. As it has been taught. So this person who then goes to share with others has been taught, so that he can encourage others by sound doctrine and refute those who oppose it. So that he can encourage others by sound doctrine and refute those who oppose it. So if what you believe is not right, it is the person who has been trained and knows what it's all about that is then able to go and correct. A life of integrity. We're talking about the list that identifies teachers. 1 Timothy 3:4-5 says, he must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him, and he must do so with a proper amount of respect. If anyone does not know how to manage his own household, how can he take care of God's church? Someone who is living a reckless life, doing some crazy stuff, you can't allow this person to go on. And his family, his own family does not respect him. So the Bible is saying here, remember now, these things that God put are not things that is we can, because some people come up with some arguments. You and I don't have that leverage. You listen to the things of God and you obey, or you try to do your own thing. And doing your own thing is missing the mark, it's sin. 2 Timothy 2:15 says, do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, and who correctly handles the word of truth.
gully, in every alley, we are preaching when I got to everybody. So when me face God, you know, when I think of the love of the Lord.
Spice up your next event with professional lighting. Call 610-5679 and give your audience an experience they'll never forget. Proper stage lighting ensures stage visibility, motivates, and sets the mood of the atmosphere. We provide services for weddings, concerts, parties, dance recitals, and much more. Captivate your audience. Improve your production today. Call Shamax Productions at 610-5679 for quality and professional stage lighting.
Cyber Realty and Development is the leader in providing solutions to the current land crisis in Belize. For homeowners and investors alike, Cyber Realty is offering special deals on half-acre parcels in its new Emery Village development. Enjoy prime land off mile 37 on the George Price Highway at an unbeatable price. All you need is the initial down payment of $275 Belize dollars. Take advantage and reserve your half-acre home sites today. Emery Village. Join the community. Invest in your future.
Blessed Gardens is servicing home gardens across the country from the nation's capital and helping Belizeans reconnect with nature. We have everything you need for your home garden, so get growing. We have various types of soils: fortified soil, composted soil, potting soil, and pure compost for your garden. We have quality seeds and over 65 varieties of food seedlings for your garden. We even have organic insecticides available, EM soil treatment, and Polyshade for your excessive sun or rain. Blessed Gardens has all your garden solution in one location. Call 610-5679. Visit us at the Bumapan Market Plaza or enjoy our free deliveries across the country. Blessed Gardens. Get growing, Belize.
Mopping, tiles, furniture, and...
Miss, you don't need all of this, man. Only this you need to make 4 out of this. And it's cheaper than all of them put together.
I want it.
Green Clean. All your cleaning needs in one bottle.
You are my inspiration, seeing you happy and how quickly you grow. You are so tiny yet so smart. You have the most sacred place in my heart. I know you thought I was strong. If only you knew my strength came from you. All I think... Sir, don't you think you're a little bit too big for this story time?
Excuse me? What about all this discrimination? As far as I'm concerned, I identify as a 4-year-old. Besides, I hear this children's book have pictures, and everybody like pictures, right?
Yeah.
Read away, please.
I do all I think you need and ask. I pay attention with love and care. I love her most even when I think you're not there.
My name is Madeline Tucker, and I am the author of My Inspiration. And you can purchase this at
numerous locations and also on Amazon. Conducting a defense biosecurity operations against a rapidly mutating colony of foreign microbial invaders attempting to establish residency within the human host.
Oh, so germs.
Join medical graduate and author Madeline Tucker for 60-Second Health Talk, a brand new PlusTV series packed with quick and easy to understand health tips. Understand your body, how it works, and making informed choices for everyday wellness. Learn something new in just 60 seconds. Watch 60-Second Health Talk every Monday on Rise and Shine at 7:30 a.m. on PlusTV. 1 minute, valuable health information, better living.
Do you enjoy learning and wanting to know more about Christ your Savior? Then join Phil Sanders in Search of the Lord's Ways every Sunday 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. on PlusTV for half an hour of beautiful hymns and Bible messages. Messages are repeated on Tuesdays at 1:30 and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Search in the Word for God's will. Know more and do more for the God we love. In Search of the Lord's Ways with Phil Sanders is being brought to you by the Church of Christ in your area. Be sure to visit.
In Toledo, your land is your biggest asset. It is where most families invest all their cash. It provides your food and, in many instances, your livelihood. But a proposed law could take control of private land and transfer it to village ownership. Even with legal title, your property rights could be extinguished, even if you owned it before 2015 when the consent order was signed. Doesn't matter what your ethnicity, if your land is declared Maya customary land, it will be owned by the village. And while we wait, confusion grows, misinformation spreads, and uncertainty is taking hold. As written, this bill may require a constitutional amendment, meaning this could extend beyond Toledo to all of Belize. This bill is too important to rush. Let's fix it, discuss it, and get it right. Toledo Private and Lease Landowners Limited, protecting property rights through dialogue.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. Nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place we ever roam could be like Belize. Be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go?
We're happy to be here together with you, in your homes, with you in your car, while you're driving. If you're listening, don't watch while you're driving, but you can listen. And we're very, very happy to be together with you. It's a wonderful Friday morning. I know in Belmopan it's a nice, bright, sunshiny morning. And just quick look at our weather. It's showing 80 degrees with a high today of 89. And we're looking at 60% chance of rain, which is showing about 6 p.m. So that's going to be later on in the evening, about 6. As it starts to get dark, there'll be some rain. But across the nation, I think it's pretty safe in this time of year to expect that there's probably going to be some rain. But anyways, they say all sunshine makes a desert, so we're grateful for the rain. I'm also grateful for the sun. And I've always got lots of stuff that we need to get done outside. And so if it rains too much, it gets a little bit discouraging. But we give thanks to God for every blessing that He gives to us as a nation. Amen. So again, we're happy to be together with you. And thank you for tuning in. We want to hear from you this morning. Pastor Santi, who is normally Friday morning host, is on leave, and he's getting some much needed time of rest and recuperation. And so anyways, please keep them in your prayers. He had a extremely busy first part of the year, and with a lot of different things happening that was pulling very strongly from his attention. And so we as a team of leaders around them, we all work together, we cover each other, we speak into each other's lives. And so us as a team of leaders together around them urge them to take this month off and get some much needed time for rest. And so I've been hearing back from them. They're feeling much better. They're rebounding back. And so anyways, all of that just to say we're here on a Friday morning, and I have together with me my dear friend and co-host Kerm Thimbrel. Kerm, good to have you with us together this morning. And so, yep, and I'm looking forward to our conversation. And so, anyways, welcome.
Yes, good to be here this morning. It's, like what you said earlier, Pastor Scott, it's Friday already, the time is just going, it just feels like, like what's happening. But I just want to encourage people towards a life of purpose. We're created for purpose, right? And so even as the time goes by, we have to recognize that there is significance to who we are and who God has called us to be. Each person is divinely placed in their own area of responsibility and authority. And so we just got to make sure that within that capacity of where God has called us to serve, we serve, and we serve well, because we want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. And so so whoever you are this morning, whether you're a commissioner of police, a CEO, a minister, prime minister, that's the mandate, that you have been graced to serve in that capacity. And so the issue is going to be how you serve, how well you serve, and so because the time is just going, right? Time is going, it's going so fast, Yep,
and I want to encourage everybody, Kerm, you can't stay locked on purpose without discipline and without focus, right? And as leaders, whether it's in our family or whether it's in a business or whether it's in government, in church, whatever area, on the one side we need to see the bigger picture, right? You have to see the bigger vision and where we're going, but then you also have to deal with the specific things that are right in front of us. So we have to do both things. You can't just lock in. You might have some people that are dealing with all the little smaller things right in front of us, and then we have some other people that are dealing with the bigger picture. But if we're going to live a life of purpose, it requires focus, which requires discipline. That means you've got to tune some other things out, right? And but you know, Kerm, every night in the news where there's more revelations. I just want to be honest. I always try to be sensitive and discerning towards political bias, right? So I saw something in the news that, you know, that somebody quoted from something published in the Guardian, right? And for me, what's a Guardian? I don't know nothing about Guardian. I don't watch my Guardian and I don't watch my Times. If I want political propaganda, then I'll look to those things, right? But I don't want political propaganda. I want news, and even with the news, you have to understand. It's like they say, Kerm, you know, that history is in the perspective and in the eyes of the historian. So even when you're reading history, you have to try to understand, okay, where's this person coming from, right? Because the history of Belize from one group of people, that you're going to get a completely different story from the history of Belize from a different group of people, right?
Yes.
So history is always in the perspective of the historian. And so even with the news, I always try to be discerning, right? I listen, but I'm discerning, and I don't want to hear nothing about no political bias, and I want to hear news, and so that's why I don't read the Guardian. Like I said, what's the Guardian? You don't know about. And Times, the only time I got is the one here on my watch, and then the eternal time before the. But Belize Times, sorry, no disrespect. I don't got time for political spin and propaganda. You know, in politics, if the government says up, the opposition says down.
Yes.
Right? If the government says down, the opposition says up. It's like they don't believe anything. All they believe is the opposite of what these guys. And you know about that. I loved it. I loved it when Alberto August commended Minister Julius Espat, and I thought, okay, that speaks loudly to me. Somebody who's willing to reach over the aisles and say, thank you, sir, for what you, and nothing to do with the actual case. It was the maturity, and then when that got sent to the DPP and the DPP's response back, you know, thank you for doing the right. It's like, this is like, it was like a breath of fresh air, right? And so, anyways, I just want to encourage everybody, use your discernment, be sensitive, you know, towards political bias, but you know, I just want to encourage you. God will lead you in the truth. The Bible says that the Holy Spirit is the Spirit of truth. And so we have to be wise. We have to be discerning. Sometimes people say such and such and such and such. And I'll say, well, I'm not quite sure. Let's wait and see. We'll see. As this thing plays out, we'll see. But we are very concerned, Kerm, about righteousness in our nation. And so the Bible says that in righteousness that we will be established. God wants us to be established. You look at countries that have not embraced righteousness, and what happens to their country? Everything is chaos and disorder. And then you look at those nations with the chaos and the disorder, right? And those are the ones that like they're in poverty, and where that poverty is, there's corruption. And so it's just, Lord have mercy, but it's the fallen world that we live in. But we have an opportunity to set things and establish them in righteousness. Why? So that Belize will be blessed, and that's what we want. So,
you know, Pastor Scott, like what you're saying, I think that right now there's a national conversation in relation to what has been happening at the Ministry of National Defense and Border Security. The news has been flooded for the past, I don't know now, what,
several weeks,
with smart stream leaks. And thankfully, because, you know, the people's money must be managed properly by everyone. Nobody is excluded. And so, whenever we see wrong, we have to call it wrong. It doesn't matter who do it. Right is right, wrong is wrong.
That's right.
And so, there's a bunch of leaks. Even up to yesterday, I was noticing, man, there was some more leaks. And we're talking about large sums of money here. It's not $5 we're talking about.
Yeah,
and
it's not even $10,000
That's
at
right.
that threshold. That's why they break it up in smaller payments, right? And it adds up to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, we've seen up to $9-point-something million. But you know, people are outraged when they see these reports because it's factual reports coming from the government smart stream system. This is not like some propaganda somewhere.
That's right.
It's facts.
It needs explanation.
It's not shots.
Yes.
Right? That's coming out to the public. And so the public is very, very outraged at what's happening. And so rightfully so. Because, you know, Pastor Scott, for decades, Belize have experienced this kind of situation that people do not trust either of our political parties today. And who's to be blamed for that?
When the UDP was in, they were doing the same exact thing.
You see what I mean?
Right. We talked about this yesterday in the show, the PUP before, you know, with Prime Minister Syed Musa, and just the terrible corruption. And then how did the UDP come in? They come in with a super majority. People were fed up, you know, with this. And then boom, like, what was it? Probably about the same of what we have right now. 26-5, I think, something like that.
It's like 28.
Maybe, I think we at one point we reached 28-3, right? And
26-5,
but you're talking about super majority. In other words, the other party got trounced because people were fed up with the corruption. And then so UDP started off really, really well. You know, back in those days, you know, Pastor Wade was right there. Prime Minister has a problem, whatever, call Pastor Wade, and he's going there to give counsel and advice. And so when Rise and Shine, PlusTV, started addressing areas of corruption, right, then stopped calling Pastor Wade, and next thing you know, crash like this, right? And then we started to see like just excessive, terrible, crazy corruption stuff, right? And then the PUP comes in with what? A super majority, right? After 3 terms. And now we're at the beginning of the 2nd term, and we're already seeing this, and it's like, this is what I want to say. The Bible says, this was the Apostle Paul that wrote this, it's absolutely essential that a steward must be found faithful. Steward is manager. Steward is administrator. Steward is minister. So Paul was a minister of the gospel, but we use that word minister in relation to in our government as well, and they are stewards. And I just want to say, I think these screenshots that have come out from the Smart Stream, Kerm, it's exposing some bad dynamics of stewardship. And so anyways, I pray with all my heart that auditors are unimpeded. They are not getting any directive except to go wherever the evidence leads, right? But whenever there's an investigation and something is happening, and then somebody says, no, you could audit over in this area, but don't touch this other area. Right there, you know, something wrong, right? And so there's something shady there. So auditors need full freedom to go where the evidence leads them. But anyways, I'm believing God, Kerm, that these processes are processes that will bring things into a greater righteousness and things being set in order. But I need to say this. People, we live in a democracy. You need to speak up. You need to speak up. We've got a number of years, you know, before general elections, right? We've got municipal elections coming up this upcoming year, right? But you need to speak up. There needs to be a demand. The people of Belize need to demand for better and for more, right? And that's what needs to happen. So anyways, I just want to encourage everybody.
And rightfully so. I mean, it's like, you know, because the truth is that our politicians and political parties have both and are guilty to the max, right?
Yeah.
We're deserving life sentence for put people under fear.
Philippines had a proposition brought into their National Assembly. Death penalty for the mismanagement of.
Wow.
And I mean that but
would shake the,
well, of course, but you know, we need some of those dynamics. I'm not saying that I support that action, but there's an outrage because what's happened, millions and millions of dollars are being squandered and going where it's not supposed to go. And then, you know, as Pastor Wade has been talking about, when that happens with our national security and national defense, like that, to me, that's a serious. I mean, any of those dynamics, it's bad. But national security, like that's really bad.
Yeah, it's
where
bad.
we're taking the money from hard-working, hard-earned Belizeans' taxes, and then it's being squandered around to, you know, towards the families of politicians, and this is the same exact thing that the PUP was railing up about when the UDP was in. Same exact thing.
That's right.
And so now the shoe is on the other foot, right?
So it brings in an element of hypocrisy. And that's what we see today. There's a march and people are saying, I know the head of the union is saying, don't go out and support. Why? It's the same thing they feel. Like, is this hypocritical? Because is the government prepared to really make the changes? Pastor Scott, this country has been crying out for UNCAC for how long? And it's to the benefit of our parliamentarians, to our prime ministers, that they implement this, because this has the ability to create the safeguards, the fear factors.
Of course.
But if you don't put it in, then what happens? What happens?
Yeah.
You leave yourself to your own mercy.
Yeah.
And then you think that, oh, because, well, you know, well, we're powerful and so we can just do what we want. We can just get away with it. There's a time for everything under the sun.
That's right.
And who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? I'm shocked at what's happening right now. Every day watching news is like, what? What? Can't be. No. I never expected PUP to do this. I'm just going to be totally honest.
Yeah.
I did not expect this. If you would have told me, I said, no.
Because
I didn't expect it possible.
Because of the crazy excesses from the previous administration, and then you come in, you know, with this platform to set things in order, transparency and accountability, and those are just words if you're not going to walk them out, right? So that's why we're talking about the importance of UNCAC. You remember when the Danny Mason situation, you know, popped up, and then we've had some other situations. Terrible murders. We had immigration scandals and stuff, and then where the police are going to investigate the police, or the government is going to investigate the government, and the cry was for an independent investigation. But the truth of the matter is, Belize has no mechanism for an independent investigation. There's nothing that we can activate, that you can invoke from the Constitution, right? And that thing needs to be UNCAC or something like UNCAC, where there's an independent commission that's set up that has the legislative authority, right, to activate these things to where there's consequences, right? And so during some of our different Senate inquiries, you know, I've used the analogy of it's a nurse shark, right? It's why it looks bad. Why a big shark, you know, but you know, have no teeth, right? And they ask questions, and so maybe it's the power of kind of public exposure, but there's a lot of spin, and people are refusing to answer questions in a Senate inquiry. Like, you want to talk about facing, so that's where you get an UNCAC type independent commission that's empowered by legislation, and we're talking about great white shark teeth, right? We're talking about bull shark teeth. When those things bite, there's blood, right? And so we need that kind of squeeze, or else what's happening, Kerm, is we are tottering on the edge. Well, I think we've already crossed over the line of thumbing our nose at the Constitution, where it says men and institutions only remain free with the embracing of moral and spiritual values and the rule of law.
Three very important things.
Yes.
There's no rule of law in Belize.
Yes.
There's no rule of law.
Well, that's not true. There's rule of law when it applies to the opposition.
Yeah.
Right? The rule of law is for the opposition. Okay, it's not for those that are in power.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about PUP or UDP, because we watch that the pendulum swing this way, then it swings that way, and the two of them do the same exact thing. So
absolutely. So there's no rule of law. When you look at the world's largest economy, you realize there is a rule of law for a reason.
That's right.
Because when you try the insider trading, this is the thing, right? The insider trading, where you could think somebody's stupid because they don't understand insider trading.
Yeah.
You know? And the media could come and stick a microphone in your face and say, hey, give an explanation. Well, you know, what about insider trading? Insider trading. Yeah. And this is something we have to look at very closely. Because I know this insider trading has been happening a lot. You know, my brother made a reel that I did, but I give him, he asked me for an estimate. It's a different government ministry. And when he was there, right, the CEO asked for, you don't see my quotation. He called a company, and the company called a bid few dollars below me, and they get the thing. And my brother was outraged, but he did not say anything. Why?
Yeah.
See, we're shackled as a nation.
Yeah.
They are not some of the conversations we need to be having right now. We have been shackled. We are literal slaves in our nation. When you talk to somebody who have tremendous or supposedly tremendous authority, and then tell you, I have seen somebody put water in this glass in private, but they cannot come out and say it in public, then that is very scary. That is very dangerous. I call it the castration in the Bible, and that's what they did with the men, you know. They would castrate you, which means what? They take away your manhood. Yeah. Your manhood is gone. And believe seriously, we have lost our manhood or our womanhood for a long time. Yeah. Because nobody in this country, no matter which political party, Pastor Scott, can do corruption independently. They need public officers.
That's right.
And so you see, when you have that balance,
but you have
offices.
You have corrupt government leaders, and then you also have corrupt businessmen, right? So these ones are in the public sector, these ones are in the private sector, and they're both corrupt. And so if this side were to say, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We love our country and we're not going to do this. We love our country, and hopefully we love God more than we want money, right? And so somebody stands up on principle. But what I'm always concerned about is within the ranks of government, how many people have known about these things?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
The public officers.
And they don't say anything.
The public officers are...
And we need people that fear God and say, this is a breach. This is a breach, and I will not participate in this. Are you requiring me to run through all of these invoices right under $10,000, adding up to $400,000 or $500,000? You know, we're breaking this thing up into 40 or 50. Why are we doing this? Yeah. Right? And so it's like nobody loves the truth enough to stand up and say, no, I will not participate in this. Yeah. Right?
It's so crazy.
They say, you know, we're going to throw you under the bus. Throw me under the bus if you want. I'll be singing your song the whole way, right? I'm going straight, like we're going to plaster your ugly face right on the cover of the Mandela newspaper. You know, the Reporter, 7 News, 5 News, PlusTV, every media house. Yeah. I will be singing your song all the way. Right? Sometimes that happens, but it's normally protecting the corruption rather than exposing it, right?
Exactly, and that's the thing. That's why I'm saying, Pastor Scott, we have a problem in Belize, and that's why we're having this conversation. Yeah. We want people in the country to wake up, because I was talking to somebody yesterday, right? You know, he does work on my cars, and you know what he was saying? Why the man doesn't get away with this? We can't do nothing about this. I said, sir, stop and listen to what you're saying. I say, you're
enabling it.
Yeah, I say you are a leader in this community. You're a very honorable and respectable person. You're a grown man. We both are. I say, you think if you look at Belize and you look at how many grown men there are in this country,
that's right,
who are respectable people, responsible people, If we come together and we say no more of corruption, what do you think can happen? The man say, yeah, we are the true boy. But when you listen to the national discourse too, a lot of people will speak and say, boy, well, you can't do nothing about that, boy, this, that. We have to wake up. We are slaves. That's the action of a slave.
I've been in Belize for 43 years now. And that's what I've heard my whole 43 years.
Exactly.
By, you know, they want by then they reap here and they reap there and they reap there, but you can't do nothing about that, right? Like then the guys they just do what they want. Then people say, I not even vote this election. It's like you are completely withdrawing yourself out of the whole process, right?
So you become a part of the problem.
Exactly. So we become enablers.
That's right.
Right? And people that are foolish enough to take the envelope of money on election day and like seriously, like you're gonna let that sway your heart for the nation of Belize. So anyways, but like I said, Kerm, we've seen the pendulum swing back and forth too many times. There's a problem with the system.
That's right.
You know what we need? While the pendulum swung way over here, you got to put a pin right here, a long pin to it. When that thing comes down, bam, it smacks right into that. No more of this back. I believe that pin in the middle would be an UNCAC type commission that's empowered with legislation to summon any prime minister and ask any question. And if they are not satisfied with the answers to that question, that there are legal consequences. And everybody knows that. Everybody in the whole country knows that because it's a new day. There's a new sheriff in town. But you know, that's giving an awful lot of power to this commission, right? But it's, when I look back at the history of Belize, I came in 1983. I never shook George Price's hand. I waved at him when he drove by in his white Land Rover when I lived down in PG, right? And we all knew. In fact, people were still calling him Premier back then, right? Yeah. Anyways, I study those things and I look at history. I want to dig back deeper. I want to learn those things. And the big word was self-governance, right? When Belize started to come into self-governance. But then I look at what's happening today and I shake my head and say, we still don't have self-governance. So, and anyways, I just want to challenge everybody. People of Belize, we need to press for more. We need to press for better. And so,
Pastor Scott, we're prayerful people, right? And years ago, I remember, this is years ago, you will remember as I mentioned this, but in prayer, I felt the Lord spoke to me so clearly. What Belize needs is a people's movement.
Yeah.
The answer is in the people. You know, there's a pillar of the democratic principles that says that a nation through democracy is only based on when the people as citizens are actively engaged on a daily basis in the democratic process. Like this, we're engaging, there's dialogue, there's not fear to talk, right? Who's like, think fear, like fear to like what is fear? Like think about this fear thing. Because fear has to do with consequence, which means our governments have been very manipulative. They've been dictators. Because when people are afraid of you, and people are afraid. I've talked to so many people. Yeah. Why not set up? Why you better be careful, because how can you lead? Imagine you as a father, they lead your children in your home like that. Right? You are going to raise up rebels.
That's right.
Because they're not going to respect you, mom or sir.
Yeah.
Because your strategy of leading, your style of leadership, it sucks because you cannot have people be afraid of you and think that you are a good leader. And the question is this morning, are people in this country afraid to speak what they see, what they know? It's kind of like when bad man come with a gun and kill, bye. Right? What happens? I don't want to testify now because
Yeah.
and come for me next.
Yeah.
That is the same way our political leaders are behaving.
And so then the land becomes ruled by fear.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And the truth is suppressed by fear. What we're believing God for and what we're asking for, what we're pushing for is to take that system and flip it around the other way to where the fear runs from the truth, right? And what gets out there in the hearts and minds is, why not do that? You are get busted. You are get busted, right? Don't do that. And so, but then that's called consequences, right?
Right.
And my parents were firm with me about consequences. I think your parents were firm with you.
Very firm.
And then what happens is those are the dynamics that cause us to grow up to become responsible, contributing members of society, right? Because of those dynamics of how we were raised.
Exactly, you know. My wife was in Panama, you know, and they came back reeling. They were reeling. When they looked at Panama, how it's structured, the beauty, the aesthetics of Panama, you know, they was like, we're wrong with we at Belize. And when we travel many times, when we come back, we are like, nobody going at Belize, you know. And kudos to the ministers that when they try to beautify the place, you know. We have to applaud them, but gosh, Pastor Scott, it's like, you know, our national economy now is $1.8 billion. 1.8 billion, and that's all a bit away. People should be moving forward, but instead what happened to the people? Again, another form of slavery. Everybody owes the banks. They want to build a little house, you come from school, you study. Think about this, please. And I want you guys to think about this morning. Look at the system we live under. People go to school and go study. Some have to even get a loan. They come back, they refinance their loan now because they're of age and want to get married. So what do they do now? They remortgage to get a house, get a piece of land, buy a piece of land. Because we know they get the land, you know who they get the land, honestly? It seems that the people who come from Guatemala are already get the land.
Yeah.
The Belizean people have to buy land, Pastor Scott.
Yeah.
It is so wrong.
Yeah.
The Belizean people have to pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a piece of land, for building a house. So they're in a debt for a school, debt for land, debt for house, debt for the car.
Yeah.
They're in debt.
Yeah.
It's like that is a cycle for what?
But
60% are the professional people.
Here's what I've noticed though. The amount of people, I come from Roaring Creek Village, right? The amount of people that when they would get a house lot or a piece of land, you know, on government lease, you know, so you get that for what? A couple $100, and they give you 20 years to pay that off, you know, type thing, right? And the amount of those people that turn around and sell that, and because we don't see the long-term value of land, and I think to me, Kerm, this is identifying one of the root areas of the problem is that I think for lots of people, very, very short-term vision, right? It's like what they call nearsightedness, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, with your actual eyes, you have nearsighted and farsighted, right? And I think that we struggle with nearsightedness to where if we get a piece of land, we don't realize that, okay, wait, if I put a house on that, that's going to increase the value more. I hold on to that. Even if I'm able to get maybe a nicer or a bigger piece of land someplace else, you know, I hold on to this, and somebody else is going to make the payments, right? And so just that longer term vision, the longer term planning, so many people don't live their life like that.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you get, you know, a piece of government land for a good price or whatever, and then people turn around and sell it, and then you look at who they're selling it to, and they're selling it to people from outside of Belize, right? Whether they're Asians or whether they're Americans or Europeans or whatever, because those people see the value of land. Because in Taiwan, you know, a house lot size piece of land will go for $1 million US, and they'll put a skyscraper on it, right? You know, like they see the longer term value. So I'm sharing this with us because I believe, Kerm, that it's a consistent problem, right? That we don't see longer term. And then many of the ones that do see longer term are seeing that longer term, but with corrupt eyes,
That's
right?
right.
And
That's
so,
right.
so where are the good people, right? The hard-working people with that honesty and with that vision. So that's where, going back to what we talked about at the beginning, Kerm was mentioning about to live a life of purpose. It takes discipline. It takes focus. You know, you come under financial pressure. You know, boy, I really need money. You start thinking about selling that. Then something rises up in your heart, says, no, I'm not going to sell that land. Like, this thing is only going to go up in value. Like, I'd be an idiot to sell this. Let me hold on to it, right? And so I just want to encourage us. We need to get those wheels turning. We're trying to address some of the things at the root system of why things are the way that they are.
Pastor Scott, you asked a question and I want to answer it for this morning. You asked a very important question because you asked, where are those
good
people, the right-minded people who love the country, who understand the issues, who have the right vision and values for their life? Where are they? Where are those people? I want to answer the question for you, Pastor Scott.
Yeah.
You want to know where they are? They are under fear. That's where they are.
Yeah.
Because they're out there, but they are living under fear. And like what you said earlier, they refuse to be a part of the national conversation. Why? Boy, you can't say nothing. Boy, we want to challenge you this morning. We want to challenge you this morning because Belize can't move forward without you.
That's right.
Right? Belize can't move forward. You need to be a part of the national conversation. That's what we're doing here this morning. We have identified clearly one of the problems. Public officers inside their office, even though they are protected by a union. This is why I don't understand. Because your union is protecting you. And people are they clamor, they cry out for what? Whistleblower legislations, right? But they refuse to say something to say. And when they speak, they are protecting the very ministers and CEOs and whoever else would be trapped by the snare of what these things produce. You understand? Am I my brother's keeper? So it is important for us all to play our role in the national discussion and development of this country. If you let it talk and holla about nothing, you don't gonna get your degrees. You are intelligent enough to understand what is happening in our country, right? And like I said, we don't be political. We don't call no minister name and nobody name. We're being generic in our discussion. But sir or ma'am, where are you? I want to ask you. And is that the beliefs that you want to leave for the children coming behind? Is that the kind of beliefs you want to leave for the generation? Listen. You know that's how you start the Venezuela, you know? That's how you start the Russia. That's how you start the Cuba, all right? It started like that. And boom, one day everybody wake up and you know what? You really can't say nothing now. Because it will cost you your life.
You got to get actively involved earlier in order to prevent those things, right? So, Kerm, it's 8 o'clock. We're going to take a quick break.
Yes,
we're going to give some space to our sponsors, the ones that help to keep Rise and Shine on the air. And so don't change that channel. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
Keep it on the rock.
That's right, as Brother would say.
I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know. If I ever had to leave my home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace.
To prevent hearing loss, Protect your ears from loud noises by wearing earplugs or earmuffs in noisy environments. Keep headphone volume low and take breaks from prolonged exposure. Avoiding inserting objects into your ear canal, and get regularly hearing checkups to try and catch any early signs of damage. Remember, taking care of your ears will help you hear a lot longer. My name is Madeline, your medical scientist, here with your 60-second health talk.
Are you looking for financing on equipment, machinery, vehicles, parts, or tools for you or your business? Benquip and Belize Bank have partnered to make purchasing easier than ever with Belize Bank's convenient online loan application platform. Simply apply online, get fast and secure financing, and access the equipment or vehicle you need to keep moving forward. Even better, use the promo code when applying and enjoy a special promotional interest rate exclusively for Benquip customers. Whether you're upgrading your fleet, investing in new machinery, or purchasing essential parts and equipment, now is the perfect time to make it happen. Visit Benquip today and ask about Belize Bank online loan financing.
Serious about your sound? So are we. At Lavitza, music isn't just business, it's our vibe. From first-time players to seasoned pros, Belize chooses Lavitza. Whether you're a solo artist, band, church, school, or marching band, we speak your language. Experience the crisp keys of a Yamaha, the legendary beat of Pearl and Tama drums, and a premium selection of guitars, mics, mixers, and speakers. We only stock the best. Gear that's built to perform, designed to last, and backed by expert service with a smile. At Lavitza, it's about more than the equipment. It's about friendship and the joy of making music. Your passion is our mission. No cash? No worries. Ask about our flexible payment plans. From the mainland to the islands, we ship countrywide. Lavitza, the good stuff at better prices.
Welcome to the William David Fonseca Parking Facility, your modern solution for safe and convenient parking in downtown Belize City. With easy payment options such as prepaid cards or coins, parking downtown has never been easier. Enjoy affordable rates as low as 75 cents for 15 minutes, $1.50 for 30 minutes, and $3 for an hour. Open and available 24/7. Park smart. Park safe. Park at the William David Fonseca Parking Facility. Modern, secure, convenient. Your Belize City Council. Always about the people.
So it started off like any other summer day in Belize. I decided to go down to Builders Hardware since I heard they had 25% off on summer outdoor products. I got a couple of items, a chair, a grill, a cooler, and I got carried away, but the prices were so good. But anyways, I might have gotten comfortable, maybe too comfortable. Then I saw the news, man, the hurricane season was not playing with me. But thank God, Builders also had 25% off hurricane preparedness items as well. Flashlights, batteries, sealant, first aid kits, everything I need. And guess what? My grill survived.
There's going to be 5 modules that we will be looking at. The first one would be the duties of traffic wardens, power of arrest, and the legislative amendments as it relates to DUI. The second module looks at report writing, and then we look at motorcycle helmets and its standards. On Wednesday, we look at the proper use of breathalyzers, and then we'll do some training related to that. On Thursday, we then look at electronic evidence as it relates to the changes in legislation and the use of the body cams and dash cams. And on Friday, of course, we'll be doing a simulation on a case file preparation.
Please remember, the rules are there for a reason. The regulations are there for a reason. It's not to bypass them. It's to ensure that you protect the citizens of Belize.
We're not here to just teach you. We're also here to learn from you. You are the ones who are on the streets every day doing traffic enforcements. So you know what are the issues that affects you and should be able to guide us so that we can correct those issues.
Serious about your sound? So are we. At Levitza, music isn't just business, it's our vibe. From first-time players to seasoned pros, Belize chooses Levitza. Whether you're a solo artist, band, church, school, or marching band, we speak your language. Experience the crisp keys of a Yamaha, the legendary beat of Pearl and Tama drums, and a premium selection of guitars, mics, mixers, and speakers. We only stock the best. Gear that's built to perform, designed to last, and backed by expert service with a smile. At Levitza, it's about more than the equipment. It's about friendship and the joy of making music. Your passion is our mission. No cash? No worries. Ask about our flexible payment plans. From the mainland to the islands, we ship countrywide. Levitza, the good stuff at better prices.
Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. Creole and Garifuna, Mestizo and Maya, living in peace. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize. If I ever had to leave Belize, if I ever had to leave Belize, where would I go? Where would I go? Where would I spread my bed? Where would I lay my head? Nobody know, nobody know. If I ever had to leave me home, no other place I ever roam could be like Belize, be like Belize. Sweet Belize, land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine this morning, and I hope you enjoyed those commercials. Again, we ask you to get behind our sponsors that help keep Rise and Shine on the air, and we're always grateful for the partnership of our friends all across the nation of Belize. And so Kerm, we're in some interesting situations.
Yep.
Questions continue to abound. I need to say this again. You know, we were talking earlier about discernment and political bias, and so if somebody gets a contract for $1 million, right? And so is that comparable to what somebody was being paid, you know, in previous other contracts or whatever? So there's all that's $1 million. I mean, there's been contracts given for, you know, for a whole lot more than that, right? Exactly. And so it's a matter of did we get value for our money? You know, is the job finished? Like $9 million for vegetables over however many years. Well, I have no idea. I have no idea what the BDF consumes, right? But so is that comparable to other years or whatever? And so auditors need to do that investigation. My concern is when leadership interference from a political perspective starts to insert itself to where the auditors are supposed to be doing what they're doing, right? Yeah. So we had a meeting in Belmopan a couple weeks ago, I guess now, where the city council in Belmopan was bringing out the numbers. It was, I hate to say this doesn't reflect necessarily on the current administration, but I think they were saying that going back to the numbers from 2025 back to 2017 or whatever, and the audits from the auditing department were incomplete, Kerm, and the reason why they were incomplete is because the records weren't there from the previous administrations, right? So this is the official perspective from the auditing department, and it's like, hold on a second, like things weren't in order, and then we're gonna find out about it 8 years later, 9 years later, like, and so even that right there, you know, we have to put our foot down and say, come on, you guys, we got to do better than that. And so that auditing, that scrutiny, the scrutiny is when you're going through with the fine-tooth comb. We don't want to hear about no fine-tooth comb from 9 years ago, or the lack of a fine-tooth comb. Like, we want to know about last month, right here, right now, right? And so, and I remember, Kerm, when I came to Belize, I started off down in PG. I started off in Jacintoville, right? And 43 years ago, I lived in a thatch house with a thatch roof and a dirt floor. That's where I started, okay? And so, and the road to PG, Kerm, back in those days, especially in rainy season, it would take you 7 to 8 hours to get to PG. Yeah, I remember. And that's if you reach, right? Because sometimes you might buck one flooded river and the bus turn around to go back, and you buck one next flooded river and you're stuck there for days. That's what it was like when I first came to Belize in 1983. So everybody when they talk about, you know, I told one of my friends down there, so I hear that they talk about pave the Southern Highway, and he laugh and say, you know how much years they talk about that, you know? And so, but I remember the day when that came true. Yeah. I believe it was Kuwait that gave the money. Yes. Right? And the contract was given to a Costa Rican company. Oh, wait. What about Ministry of Works? No. Yeah. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. They put it out for bid. Yeah. Costa Rican company got the bid. All right. They have all the equipment. They had to ship all of these trucks and everything in from Costa Rica, right? And listen to this. They hired a New Zealand firm to audit the project. Yeah. How does New Zealand get in there? This is money from Kuwait, a contract being fulfilled by a Costa Rican company, and a New Zealand firm to audit the project. The auditing means that they're standing there on the side of the road watching. Exactly. And if it's supposed to be 3 feet of this kind of, you know, fill underneath there, the bedding of the road, and so they're looking at the plans, they're making sure, all right, what are we working on today? So we have to make sure that we get this, the auditing project, and if the auditors don't sign off, Costa Rican company doesn't get paid. So there's kind of an element of fear, all right? If we want to get paid, we have to do it the way it's specifically designed like this. Kuwait demanded that it happen like that.
Of course, the terms and references, no?
And listen to this, Kerm. That same road that was built by that Costa Rican company and audited by a New Zealand firm, that same road is still there today. There's large parts of that have not been resurfaced. They have not been, and the road is still good. And there's some areas it's needed. I think it's to be expected, right? Especially in a rainy country like Belize or whatever. But my point is simply this: the scrutiny, the fine-tooth comb was standing on the side of the road watching, right? And so this is supposed to be up to 4 feet here of base, you know, and then they're supposed to have dug down underneath there and put big stone and this, that. The auditor standing there on the side of the road making sure, and it's a whole company. How much did it cost to audit that project? I had probably millions of dollars for that auditing firm, but it's guaranteeing what I think maybe it was $80 million Kuwait, I can't remember right now. But my point is, it costs money to audit, but if you want to get the value for the bigger amount, the $80 million, then yes, you need to spend the 2 or 3 or 5 million for the auditing firm to make sure everything goes the way that it's supposed to go. Exactly. I'm sharing that just to say, the auditors need to be there in each ministry, in each department, and those policies or laws, like this whole thing about breaking up a $400,000 payment into 40 payments, you know, less than $10,000 so that it goes under the rate. Like, excuse me, we could fix that just like that with a law that makes that illegal.
Yeah.
And then you cross over the line of that and you're going to get your hand smacked, right? But because auditors are right there, auditing as we go, well, we don't want to hear about this 9 years later. You understand?
Exactly.
Like that is corruption in itself. To let that sit for so long.
I didn't watch the news. This kind of disturbed me systematically. That in social media, somebody was saying that the Auditor General is related to a minister. Somehow, there's a connection. That should never be. You know, people say a lot of bad things about the United States, but that no works today.
Yeah.
No. I always think about Martha Stewart, you know, insider trading.
Yeah.
She went to prison. She was a popular figure.
Yeah.
I know some of the most
They made an example of her.
Look at P. Diddy the other day.
Yeah.
Boy, is man untouchable, boy. Yeah. You can't touch this man, boy.
They touch
man, what? Man are jail.
Man get touched.
And he not deserve no because there's a conversation about Donald Trump pardon him. No, this man has done some very serious wrongs. Very serious wrong to people. And so we can have check and balance if we have the wrong people, they appoint these people. No matter what color you, red, blue, or pink, it don't matter to us. We're talking about systematic changes. We're talking about systems that are proven to work.
And it needs to
stupid.
It needs to tighten up. We use those words in Creole. Tighten up, my boy. Tighten up. Like it needs to tighten up.
Have to
and so, and when an FO, a financial officer, cannot give answer as to why these payments were broken up into less than $10,000 with invoice number 5056, you know, dot 5056 dash 5056 asterisk 56. You know, I look at that and I just go, I cannot believe this. Yeah. And is that system fixed yet?
Yeah.
Is that system fixed yet? It's a matter of computer coding.
Yeah.
I have family members that are computer coders.
Yeah. You can fix it right away.
You can fix it just like that.
Yeah,
is the system fixed yet? I think we need an answer. Yeah. Somebody needs to ask the Prime Minister, but Prime Minister doesn't know. He should know. Right? I believe this very strongly. I commented this on Facebook. You know, Prime Minister can't micromanage every little nitpicky detail. That's not what a Prime Minister's job is for. But how many people work for the Prime Minister?
Yeah.
We're talking about what? Tens of thousands of people. The largest employer in the government, in the nation of Belize.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has to put people over areas and has to be people. Those people need a finger pointed at them right in their face. Manage this thing properly.
Yeah.
I'll hold you responsible. Then those managers point their finger in the ones under them. Manage this thing, because me not going to jail for you. I will throw you under the bus, and I will drag you under the bus. So manage it properly.
You know who I mean like that?
And then all of those ones are saying that to all the ones that are working for, like, it gets passed down. It's supposed to.
You know who I mean like that?
Who's
I
that?
can tell who was like that. And everybody out there when they hear me or know who I mean like that. His name was Rudolph Gentle. Everybody fear Mr. Gentle. You go there with one document to sign. Mr. Gentle, look at that. I want all the supporting, he don't care who you. I want all the supporting documents. And you say, this is what he does. He sit behind the desk, right? You see the man do like this. And open the drawer. And when he open the drawer, he pull out 2 books. Constitution and the policies for that process. And he opened it. And what he would do, I tell you what he did in front of me and to me. Because I go there and I need to get documents signed. Mr. Gentle pick up the phone and he will call a respective FO. And he not play. You should hear how he tell me. Same thing what you just say.
Yep.
You know your policy. You think I go to jail for you, and he corrects people.
Yep.
And he no care who.
Yep.
He doesn't care.
We need more
right?
people like that in Belize.
Right now, Mr. Gentle left the country. I've been calling him, we've been talking, and the man, he kind of bitter at telling Mr. G, hold it down, man. Relax yourself. Well, we become friends. But even when I would go there, I got to know him through that process.
Bitter because he wasn't defended for taking a strong stand?
He no play games.
Yeah.
Everybody out there will listen, no.
Yeah.
The whole public service, no.
Yeah.
Mr. Gentle. When I first got to here, I would have to deal with Mr. Gentle. Ask my sister, who is this Mr. Gentle? I don't know who this person is. Boy, well, he straight like Neil, he no play. And so we became good friends.
And that makes us happy.
Yeah,
that makes us happy.
Mr.
Right?
Gentle,
and you have to know
Gentle.
when you bring something to Mr. Gentle, that you have to have all your you have to have all your ducks in a row, right? And so we need that. We need that. We need
people
that.
like that in the system.
Yes.
People like that in the system but if you got people where they take the law, can we have good laws? Honestly, I was looking at social media. The head of the union brought shows some legislation, so we have good laws. The point is, the only good advice, nothing good advice.
Doesn't have enforcement.
Because no, people don't follow the principles, the laws of this country. So what do you have now? You have lawlessness. So we're like the gangs in the streets. If you look at the attributes of the gangs, when they come, they're going to kill you. I've seen, but I better not talk. I better know, I better be afraid. Why? Then they come for me. Is that not how the governmental system works?
Supposed to.
That is how it's working, Pastor Scott, where people don't want to call things out. And this happening in the private sector too. Pastor Scott, there's so much complaints in this country. I've heard them all over the place with leadership. Maybe that's why we do GLS and leadership, because people are complaining. It's not only in the government, it's also in the private sector. You have leaders who think they're gods and kings and queens. They rule and then dominate. You know, people can't have an opinion. There's no dissenting views. Yeah. You know, we talk about that there's a lady from Harvard, you know, and she did a paper on that. She did a research on it, and she presented that in corporate America. Her paper went viral. She talked about the power of dissent. She said, if you in our board, in on a board right there, so a lot of things happen.
Right.
I was talking yesterday to some parents. They were very angry with this school. And I'm going to call the school name right now on air, because I'm going to call the responsible people that they cannot get an audit. The principal refused. She not give no audit, and every time they start with $0 balance. You understand? And the parents are concerned about how the school has been managed. So people in our board systems will sit around the table. They sit around. They say that wrong motion has been presented by, well, you know what, XYZ. And they don't say nothing. Why? Because they're afraid. We don't understand the power of dissent.
Yes.
And this is what this lady talk about. She said, she's a professor, I don't remember her name right now, right? But she talked about if you are in a circle, you're in a board meeting, and you have everybody to say yes to everything you say, you need to have your meeting all over. Because you have to have dissent. Where people say, no, but I see it this way, maybe that part where you say correct, but this part over here, you know, this part here, wrong. All right, I have a concern about this. If you can't, you don't have a board, what do you have?
That's right.
You know, what do you have?
You have a bunch of yes men and yes women, right?
Prophets at Ahab table
Yes. But then people, the ones that ask questions don't need to be against you.
Exactly.
They are part of thinking about, okay, if we do it this way, but we don't have this and this and this in place, like it would be impropriety. It's right. Inappropriate, right? So we need to make sure that we have this and this and this and have this all well documented, and then we can move forward.
That's right.
And so people are saying, boy, a lot of thing with him, and like why he have to throw all this? Because he's trying to he's part of the steering of the ship, trying to keep the ship away from the reef, so you don't sink the ship, right?
Exactly.
And so anyways, that's those dynamics of that accountability. The men in institutions only will prosper with the embracing of moral and spiritual values and the rule of law. So that means there's a code that you have to go by. Those are called policies. Sometimes they're called laws. And you have to stay within those boundaries. And so
ethics.
And ethics, yes, because there's a whole ethical side. It's not policy, it's not law, but it's inappropriate, right? And like that would be considered questionable. So don't do that. Yeah. So anyways, I'm just encouraging everybody. We need that, and we should welcome that scrutiny. So I would say, you know, I'm happy that the Prime Minister isn't running away and hiding. They're shoving microphones in his face.
That's good.
And they're asking for answers. Well, some of those people's intention might be to try and make them look bad for whatever reason or whatever. That's why again, I'm always trying to discern. I don't want no kind of political bias. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Let's talk about it and stay straight. Right? So anyways, all of that just to say, I'm glad that he's continued to embrace that, but I'm sure that there's probably been some tough meetings because some people have the potential to sink the ship. And my point is,
get them off the ship.
Get them off the ship. Get them out of charge, right? And you need. I mean, if the oil hasn't been changed on the engine in a ship, you know, for however long, because, you know, somebody to pocket the money or something, like, are you kidding me? You're gonna shut this whole thing down. Remove that person and get a Mr. Gentle in there who's gonna have all his documentation. When was the last time did you change the oil on this ship? I have all the documents right here. Boom, right there. Here, you want to see my maintenance record here? Here's the log book of all of that. He could show you exactly when. Those are the kind of people that we need. But people say, Mara's a lot of thing with him, man. Yeah. He's strict. Well, those kind of managers need to be strict.
And they need to be promoted.
Yes.
I have a niece, Pastor Scott, right? She's so funny in our family. One time I went and I did something that offended her. Right? So in a family get together.
She let you have it?
No, he had a story, so she got upset and she showed it, right? So her mom asked her, he said, you need to apologize to Uncle Kerm. All right. She bent her head down. She felt she was unjustly treated, right? I say, you need to apologize. She just mumbled, right? Then her mom asked her, do you love Uncle Kerm?
Aye, they squeeze that lime for some juice.
You know what she said? I don't remember. And what that young lady was doing, what my niece was doing was she was saying, even if it's my uncle and he does wrong, it's wrong. That's what she was saying.
Yeah.
And her parents needed to endorse that. So I laughed because I said, this young lady is going to go far in life because she speaks the truth at all times. Right? Even that her uncle, he said, me not remember if I love you, you offended me. what we're saying, Pastor Scott.
For the punchline, did you guys work it through?
After a while.
After?
That's
fine.
She stood her ground.
That's fine.
She stood her
I
ground.
respect that.
Yes, I respect her. We always talk about
that
it.
shows that somebody really believes something.
That's right. She believed her stand.
Yes.
Because I was provoking her. I was wrong. But not because I had an uncle. I had to provoke you.
Yeah, that doesn't give you free pass. That's right. That's right.
And she stood her ground.
That's right.
You know? And then she looked at us. She said, I'm not your friend anymore. You say you go in the corner and cry about it. Yes.
To Uncle Kerm.
Yes. Go in the corner and cry. I'm not your friend anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was here and you came and you offended me. The moral of the story, no matter who do the wrong, wrong is wrong, my friends. If that me do the wrong, and we just have to say, acknowledge that we do wrong, and it's that simple, right? But we can't tell people we do right when we know we do wrong, right? And so I want to challenge the nation because, Pastor Scott, a lot of we point finger right now on the government, on the minister, on whoever. But we have to point the finger at ourselves too. How many people don't know about all the wrongs? So many wrongs. And have disengaged from the conversation. They're not saying anything. It never have to reach to this point. Don't you suppose many people saw things? I was one and I went and I spoke to the right people. I went and I sat with one of their minister. And sometimes it's difficult, it's hard because you look at authority and say, boy, the authority man, and we have been raised in a certain kind of way that make you feel like when you talk to a 30 boy, you have to be whatever. When you and I were in Barbados, I'll never forget this. We were in a round table, right? And different nations were represented. And a Jamaican girl rose up and she said this. This time it was the LGBT movement that was coming to Belize. And you know what she said? She said there's a reason why them gonna Belize. Because the people of Belize them too soft. Them are the rejected slaves. Them I can't try that, yeah. Right? That's what she was saying. And I've never heard anything like that. That's how the region sees us. But I want to say we have a problem. That is not only the government we could say have a problem. We have a problem. Because we could sit around and we don't do anything. We don't say anything. We have a problem. Why do we feel like we can't do nothing when we're a big Louis said I said it hard, but I don't know Louis talk, right? I try not to speak like that. But we are grown men, Pastor Scott. We're grown women. And if we see something wrong, gosh, let's go to the right person and talk to them. I've had to do that. I went and I said to the minister, sir, with all due respect, I come because blah, 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 have the challenges here, X, Y, Z. Me explain myself. I spoke to the right people.
Yeah.
You see? It's hard to do, but we have to develop those muscles. And I think that is one of the downfalls of how we have been raised and how we are culturally, that we feel like we can't talk to leaders, we can't address hard issues, we don't know if we have difficult conversations. We need to change in that area because this is the result of us being the way we have been. We are a part of the problem. It's not just a system that needs to change. We all need to change. And that's why, Pastor Scott, we did talk like that this morning. We have to address these issues.
Yep.
We have to say it's time for UNCAP. Because we've been promised UNCAP for a long time.
Yep.
And UNCAP come and save the ministers then. They never had to in this situation.
That's right.
They come and save the government. If they had UNCAP, it would have been difficult to do this kind of nonsense.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Anyways, I don't know. Are we wrapping up? I don't know.
Yeah, we need to wind down here. But, we've talked about whistleblower legislation, which we don't have, right? What's a whistleblower? It's somebody that takes the screenshots of SmartStream or any other areas of impropriety and brings that information outside for accountability. That's a whistleblower, right? But then the watchdog, right? So you've got the whistleblower and you got the watchdog. The watchdog is the one that's keeping a watchful eye as things are going to make sure that everything stays in track, right? And then if it's like what Pastor Wade says, if they reach the hand over this direction, They get smacked right there, right? And that's the watchdog, right? The whistleblower, I say when it happened, you know, however many months ago. The watchdog is more actively involved, right, as it's happening. And we need this. This is what's going to make our nation better. We need good people to step up and be actively involved. And so, you know, when it comes to, what do they call it, neighborhood watch, you know, they like put up these signs, see something, say something.
That's
well,
right.
that's the same exact thing in government, same exact thing in the business. You see that somebody is got money, they're supposed to go buy something for something simple. I heard this story, Kerm, once, simple thing for some project, right? Miss, we don't got tables, you know, for set up for this meeting. All right, well, go buy some tables, right? Get one price on tables, and he get one high price, and then he say, well, leave it more over, right? And then he gone buy some tables for a much lower price, right? But then get them to fix the receipt, you know, and the person got busted for something while he's simple thing, but then he looked for pocket the rest of the money, you know, and see something, say something. When you know that kind of stuff is happening, your boss would appreciate that, right? Anybody that's worth their weight in salt would appreciate that. If they wouldn't appreciate you bringing them that kind of information, if they're gonna look at you as a snitch, that's a good time to leave from that department or that business or whatever. Your reputation, your character, right? Your track record is more important than whatever little inconvenience that you might go through.
Serious, because now.
Final comments.
You know, the thing that they said, history, they said those who don't know history is likely to cause it to repeat itself.
That's right.
And when you think about your reputation as a person, your family name, I remember the words of, what's his name now? Richard Montanes. Remember Richard?
Yes.
The Cheeto.
The Cheetos guy.
He never
used to be. He was a janitor.
Yes.
At the Cheetos factory, and got an idea for what were they called?
The spicy Cheeto.
Spicy Cheeto. Got an idea, went and presented this to the leaders, and boom, found himself as vice president of, you know, and he still is.
A billionaire today.
Yes.
You know what the man said in that story? The man said he got the job as a janitor, and his mom told him, son, it is not about the job that you have, whatever job you have, whether a CEO, whether you're a minister, prime minister, president, general, it don't matter. He says, son, your job is about your family name. So whatever job you do out there, when you map the floor, think about your family name. And the man said, those words inspired him. He said when he mapped that floor, he mapped that with excellence, because he always think, when I do my job, I am representing my family name. Listen, your family name is more precious than silver and gold, than rubies, than diamond. Please don't be caught in the act of trashing your family name. When you don't trust your family name, what else do you have? You don't have anything else. When I look upon the World Cup, I could not ride with Haiti because of the family name of the nation. They're known as people who do witchcraft.
Yeah.
That's what I cannot ride with a nation like that. That's their identity. Your family name matters, sir. Your family name matters, ma'am. You can't put yourself in a situation when they call you thief. That's very serious.
Yeah.
We have to protect with family name. When people come to me and say, why you pass money? I don't pass money.
Yeah.
I think, well, my father chopped my head off, right? My father chopped my head off. I'm not saying I'm perfect, you know, but I think about my family name. And for us as Christians too, we have to think about representing the name of Jesus, right? So, that's an encouragement for us this morning. When you go to work, when you win your political seat, whatever area you're in, please be like Richard Montanes and always remember your family
Very good. Very good. Kerm, I think we have a call right as we're at the end of the show. Caller, thank you for joining our conversation this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Thimbrel. Good morning, Mr. Thimbrel.
Morning, morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I hear Mr. Thimbrel mention about family name.
Yes, sir.
That is right. But I'll tell you what, as a young man growing up and the schooling that I went through, when it comes to, yeah, I'm saying, you hearing me?
Yeah, very good. Go ahead.
I'm saying when I was growing up, I hear Mr. Thimbrel mention about family name. Yes, sir. But my thing, Mr. Thimbrel, and it resonates with me from I was a little boy, because my father, and I'm lucky to have this something, the star of the Lord. And I want to tell you, any decision I make sure you align with God said, because between me and him then.
That's right.
When I come to myself now, I could maybe err. And I say, forgive me, when it comes to the poor, the needy, and things that you must do properly, because you have accountability, and you know right from wrong.
That's right.
He said, then, so you say family name again too. And also growing up in those times in the city, you have elderly who meet you and hug you and tell you, do a good job, the part of your friend, do your work, the work what nobody said, and the elders, and the people where you didn't know. We died to so I say angels and aware. So yes, the family name is good, but I said the fear of the Lord, beginning of wisdom, and knowing His holy words is knowledge. But people don't understand this, Mr. Thimbrel. And people don't read, and they say, oh, the Bible have to be then. The Bible enough to know. Yes, the Bible, one did like 1,000 years. So excuse me, so no read some more and understand what it's saying. But the thing is accountability. The thing is ethics. The thing is moral. I mean to say, you can't just because you see somebody do something, you want to do it too, knowing that it is wrong, and you know better. You have to pay a price. And a similar thing when it comes to the thing in Luke, you have where when people commit an offense, you better make amends, because the law will hand you over to the magistrate, and the magistrate will hand you over to the jailer. You're going to jail.
That's right.
So make amends. So everything where the earthly gods are trying to do is wrong. You have to look to the word of God and align it, because even in the Old Testament tell about do not remove the landmarks for the poor and the widows, because I am God and I hear them cry and I want to deal with you. The law is made for the lawless, etc., etc. So man no make nothing.
Yes.
And most laws that still exist has not been amended, but then bypass it now, because we have more education, so we bypass it because that no matter. Yes, it matter. The lighter rain matter. The being a rogue and vagabond and from drunk matter. Everything matter because it causes disorder in the country. Law and disorder. Hear what the thing says? Law and order. If you not do it, you cause disorder.
Yep.
Time and place for everything. So it is so simple, Pastor Zach, but people just stray away because they want to get away with things and push their hand under the table. We can't do that. We can't do that.
Right.
You know, but we see some light through the dark clouds, and we continue to pray. But we have to find, as God said, we have to your family name. You don't got no shame. Look at the girl and walk on the street, practically half naked. Look at the kids at school, practically half naked. They name cat nose. They name, well, I came out of school now, so I look decent. No, they walk, they pick it at school, like, just like they walk out of their bedroom. But we used to do that earlier and run out back on the street, then do right on the street. You don't care. You got carnival on the street, the teacher they half naked, the picture they say, Mommy, see my teacher there? Then when the teacher comes, like, she is so good. You have to keep your codes and ethics and morals. Simple. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Very good.
Thank you for calling.
Well
we appreciate your input. Yep.
Well said. That's a good call.
Yep, that's right.
Level thinking person. Very proud. That's the kind of people we need, right?
That's
Where
right.
Have their head on their body.
But I want to wrap up by saying, Kerm, I'm not changing the subject. I'm talking about where are these things coming from, right? And I believe that the generating center for values, it starts in the home and the family, right? And so like when we talk about your parents were strict with you, my parents were strict with me, right? But then what that did, that built character, right? And I'm just sharing that with you that that's where values come from, the things that my dad taught me. Principles like, you know, if you don't have time to do it right the first time, when will you have time to do it again? In other words, just do it right and get it nailed down now, right? When we were talking about janitor, you know, from
Richard
the Cheetos guy
Montanes.
for Richard, I can't remember his last name. Montanes, yes. You got one big long hallway you need for mop, right? Well, every section you need to get it mopped right, because you're going to reach way down there and somebody say, hey, you left one spot. You have to bring everything all the way. Just get it fixed one time. These are principles, right, that can change our life. It will give you a good life. It'll give us a good nation. And so I just want to encourage everybody, particularly in the public service, because again, when you see something, you need to say something. Even if nothing happens because of what you said, but be on record. And I would say, write it down in a log book. Keep a log book. On such and such a date, at such and such a time, I became aware of this and this and this, and I went to my supervisor and brought it to their attention. And so, and then afterwards, when everything, you know, comes around and they're going to try and point finger at you, no. And you have a log book of every time when you brought something to the attention of your supervisor. Guess who's going to get hanged? It's not going to be you. It's going to be that other person, right? Why? Because you kept record of that. So if you see something, say something. Yes. And so, and I've talked with people that have stood up to their supervisors. You know, this doesn't have the proper signatures. What should we do with this? I call upstairs, the minister's office. The minister say, run it through. I said, but sir, why have a standard procedure if we're not going to follow it? So if you value your job, run it through, you know, and like, what kind of craziness is that? Exactly. And that's what's happening behind the scenes. So I want to say to all of you in the public service, especially in these you know, financial management, accounting section, all of this kind of stuff. When you see hanky panky, you need to bring it to your supervisor. In FBI and CIA in the United States, they're testing all of their agents, all of their officers. They are hiring another guy from Venezuela, you know, to come and as a contractor to the CIA to try to offer something to one of their guys, because they want to test and see if they're going to do the right procedure. And then this guy comes and says, boss, well, a guy from Venezuela come and offer me this and that. The boss might not know that that's an agent, right? You understand? Like, but they're testing, they're cross-checking all their guys. Why? Because we have to have honest people who are straight and who are going to defend our nation. Yeah. So I'm just saying that to say, at least the best scenario with this is that you would be on record of standing up for what's right. You've brought the attention to your supervisor. If your supervisor doesn't do anything, or if they want to try and throw you under the bus, just know God will go under the bus with you, right? And you hold on for dear life, because God is right there with you under the bus, and you're going to come out on top. That bus is going to crash. When you let go and you get out from underneath, and then the bus goes off the edge of the cliff, all you can say is, praise God. Thank you that I got out of that bus, right? So anyways, enough on the analogies. If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.
That's right.
And we don't want to be like that. So I just want to say, let's continue to pray for our nation. Leaders, people, citizens, continue to speak up. Be strong like Kerm's niece.
Yes, Nana.
Call him out.
Yes. I don't remember.
Boom, right? And so,
Uncle said,
anyways, and again, you'll work it through afterwards, but there has to be humility to work it through. But somebody stood their ground. We need more people that will stand their ground. So anyways, for all of us here at Rise and Shine and PlusTV, we're grateful for our technicians, for our staff, our team. We're grateful for our sponsors, and most of all, we're grateful for our audience, our friends and partners all across the nation. If you see something, say something. We will be back with you on Monday morning. Have a wonderful weekend.
land of the sand and sea, land of the coconut tree. I love me sweet Belize, sweet Belize, land of the isles and keys, land of the barrier reef. I love me sweet Belize.